Good morning. It's Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. Welcome to a Ken Air workshop. It's been kind of unsettled weather week for the last few days, and coming up too windy and wet to go flying or do much yard work, so I decided to start a few things in the shop. What I am working on is on the Top Flite P-51 5th scale ARC Mustang, and I have to prep the surfaces, and I normally use Z-epoxy and 3/4 ounce fiberglass cloth. This time I'm going to go with a product called Ezekote. It's a water-based product. Normally what you do, you brush it on, let it dry, sand it, lay your fiberglass cloth on, brush on another coat, sand it a bit, and do a third coat. What I've decided to do is change things up, and I'm using an old product from my control line free flight days called silkspan. And silkspan is just a woven paper tissue product. And I just, because the surfaces are solid sheeted balsa, basically I have to fill the wood grain of the sheeted balsa. So what I've been doing is doing some test coupons with Ezekote, silkspan. Sometimes I've been using polycrylic, the minwax product, and also been using another product called Cobalt sanding sealer, which is this stuff in a jar. And I find after a while the cans don't seal so well in the minwax and the sanding sealer, so I put them in glass jars. And based on that, I'm still doing different experiments, seeing how it's going to coat. Today I did a horizontal stab with a coat of Ezekote, and I put the silkspan on, sprayed it down a bit with a mist of water, and then put the Cobalt sanding sealer on top of it. It seems to have covered very nice. We'll let that dry for a day. Then we'll give it a bit of sand and another coat of either sanding sealer or polycrylic, just to fill in the grain and give a nice smooth finish for painting. Also painted a bit with some spray bombs, Rust-Oleum, just to make sure there wasn't a reaction between the Rust-Oleum spray cans and either the Ezekote or the polycrylic or the sanding sealer. Important to do that. Sometimes you don't try out the paint you're going to use, and you end up finding that you get bubbling because the paints react to each other. This morning I tried covering the elevators with a product I had in the shop called Coverite Microfilm. That's it here. Didn't like the way it peeled off, so I peeled it off, and I think I'm just going to use some super Coverite I have left around, or this Jerry Nelson's iron fabric that I have. Seems like this mica film is just too heat sensitive to get a nice fabric free. I understand that later versions of the Mustang had elevators sheeted with aluminium, but I'm going to go with the open framework just because that's what the kit came with. I also got a bit of silkspan put on the fuselage. It's coming out nice, the sand's nice, and I just wanted a bit more different product. I find Ezekote, I find Z-epoxy takes a lot of sanding, and it's gotten quite expensive, and plus in an epoxy, and you got to wait for it to cure, and it's not water cleanup like the Ezekote and the minwax. What I've also done in the meantime, I printed off plans for Pica T-28. There's the T-28 plans. They're Pica plans. The plans were on the internet, so I took them to a printing place called Loftman Graphics on Notre Dame Street, and they printed huge sheet. I think was 96 inches long by 48 inches wide for $15.47 plus tax, which is a heck of a deal. The T-28 is going to be a future project a couple years down the road. Right now I'm collecting parts. I got to find a canopy for the T-28. I got to find a cowling for the T-28. So if you know somebody who's crashed a T-28, the Pica T-28, and have those parts stuffed in the attic, I'm going to cut out my own kit as Pica's out of business and people are charging an arm and leg for a Pica kit. I seen one guy had one on Facebook who's selling it for $800, and I think there's maybe $100 worth of wood in it. Plus the Pica kit had a lot of plywood in the fuselage, the forwards and stuff, and I'm going to change that to balsa and make it lighter. I also got Tempest wing in the shop. Doing some repair on the top of the wing where the landing gear had cracked the skin because the retract blocks were so close to the wing skins. So I'm going to push the blocks out with some 1/8 inch thick plywood shims. Get that done, and I'm also working on videos for my Saunders Aircraft project. As you know, Saunders Aircraft was an aircraft manufacturing firm in Gimli, Manitoba, and manufactured a commuter aircraft called the Saunders ST-27. So that's a piece of interesting Manitoba aviation history and Gimli aviation history, and I look forward to getting that done this winter. We're not sure how much flying we're going to get more. We're into mid-September and the weather changes all over. We might get some nice harvest weather in late September, some nice stretches of sunshine. But we'll see. Otherwise, things are happening in the shop. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you later. Cheers.